this is ExZoTiCGaming. I'm going to be talking to you about Homefront today. I don't have a gameplay in the background because I tried, but the camera failed miserably, so I just have this picture in the background. This is the opening screen, and it took several attempts to get rid of the press start button. So yeah. So first thing I want to talk about is the single player. Now, single player, you expect more from it. It's quite limited, and it's a very captive story. It'll get you involved in it, but it'll only last about 5 hours for for a new gamer. So an experienced gamer can wipe it up in about 4. So don't expect much from the single player apart from a gripping campaign, but it won't last long. You'll finish it very quickly. So I suggest you savour its experience because it is a very good storyline. It just is very very short. So the next point is the multiplayer. The multiplayer is very good. I love the multiplayer. I don't think it's a COD killer, but I think it's got very good potential, and it makes a very great game. It's very interactive. There can be games up to 32 players, all the way down to 16, and there's 3 game modes. Depending if you class the Battle Commander variant, then there's 4. The first one's ground control. It's like a domination game mode out of Call of Duty. The idea is there's 3 objectives, and you have to take them, and it's split into rounds. There's best of 3 usually. So of course, if you win 2, then you win the thing. La da da. But yeah, the idea is you push back your enemy until they lose, or you try and defend if you're being pushed back yourself. And you start off at a midway point. There's 3 objectives, A, B, C, and I find that whoever wins that round, it gives you an idea of who's going to win the rest of it, because then the team who lost is probably going to win on the next part, because they get the first dibs on the on the objective, sorry, so they can quickly defend their position, and they'll probably win that round. But then, of course, the team who already won the first round then gets to defend there, and then that's probably when the second team is going to lose. So that's generally how it'll work. It'll be a 2 to 1. So yeah, the first round in ground control is very key. The next one's TDM, or Team Deathmatch. Basic, you get as many kills as you can without dying as little as possible. And then there's Skirmish, which is a mixture between the 2. Only 16 players. TDM has 24, and ground control 32 players. Now there's also a new mode, and it's very new. It's no game's ever tried to do this before. It's called Battle Commander, and the idea is that there's a commander. He's not a real person. He's an AI, and he sets priority targets. So say someone's on a 3 kill streak, and they've killed 3 enemies consecutively. So now he'll mark him as a high threat target, and so many hunters will be assigned against him. It gives you a very very rough idea of where he is, but of course, since he's already a good player, the chances are that the first few hunters won't kill him, and he'll get himself to the 2nd threat level. And more and more hunters are assigned until he gets to the 5th threat level, and that's when pretty much the entire team's trying to kill this dude, and you get extra battle points. Now that's the next step in this, battle points. It's another new concept. You don't have to worry about dying in this game. You can run around, you can get shot you like, because in the end it all comes down to battle points, and that's really what determines who wins. Battle points can be spent on a variety of things. You could buy drones, they can fly in the sky, spot enemies, they can go on the ground, machine gun them, take down tanks, you name it. You can also buy ground and air vehicles when you spawn, so you can spawn in style in a tank or a Humvee or a scout helicopter, an Apache, you name it. There's loads of vehicles you can spawn in. Well, 5, but there's different variants. It has a letdown on how many teams there are. You can either be the USA or the KPA, and there's only a few maps. And the game lobby time at the moment, when I've made this, is quite bad. If you don't get into a game which already is starting immediately, the game's not going to start, because the server has this weird problem of getting the last 2 players. It will fill the lobby up to the last 2 players and then focus on another lobby. So then of course people leave in that lobby because it's taking forever, and it wasn't very well thought through. But yeah, the multiplayer is a great game. It's game mode is definitely good, and the battle point system is great. The guns on it, they've taken away some of the more usual guns. like the AK-47. This is the first game I've ever played which hasn't got the AK-47. It's got a T3 AK, which is meant to be the equivalent. It's the Chinese version, and it's meant to be a copy. But yeah, that's a great gun. There's other guns like the M16. It's a one-shot gun. The M4. You get the SMGs, the Super VF SMG, the Diablo. You get all this type of stuff. So I have to admit the multiplayer is a lot better than the campaign. Don't try and buy this game for the campaign. And most importantly, do not compare it to Call of Duty or, I don't know, Men of War, or not Men of War. You know, all these big shooters, because it won't compare. It's a new game, it's their first attempt. If you compare it to that, you will be disappointed. So, you know, just take it for what it is. It's a great game if you just get into the swing of it. I find I can get a lot more kills off it. You don't worry if you die. And a hint for the multiplayer, save up for the attack helicopter. It costs 2,800 BP, so that's about 20 kills, maybe 23 I think, or something like that. I don't know, can't be asked to work it out, but yeah, it's something like that, and that's very good. It's got rocket launchers and the primary weapon, and then there can be a secondary co-pilot. You can use this thermal machine gun, and it's like, you dominate. So, yeah. Oh, and another thing, the launchers, there's, you have a traditional RPG, it's very accurate. Yeah, it obviously goes in a straight line, it explodes when it's hit. But then there's a new thing, and instead of having these javelins and stuff like that, and stingers that lock on, this requires a lot more skill. It's a proximity launcher. The idea is when it gets so close to an enemy target, it explodes. This means that if you're firing at a tank, it won't be so good because it will explode before it hits it. Take a lot more shots, but an Apache or a helicopter, and it will absolutely slaughter. You have to use a bit of skill, but if it's about 30 foot away from it, it'll explode and do it damage. And it takes usually about 4 or 5 rockets, depending on how good shot you are. Sometimes it can take loads if they're a good pilot, but yeah. So yeah, in my personal opinion, I think Homefront's a great game. Don't try and compare it to all the big shooters. Once again, this is ExZoTiCGaming out.